From the Foundation Studio on Biloxi's Back Bay, I want to welcome you to Super Talk Outdoors, where we celebrate the incredible world-class outdoors of the state of Mississippi every single Monday at lunchtime. I want to also thank you for joining us on the powerful Super Talk Mississippi Radio Network or on Super Talk TV at C Spire TV. But if you're listening on Facebook or YouTube or your favorite podcast, it is September the 12th, 2022. Man, we're easing into getting ready to plant season, that is for sure, up at our farms in the Mississippi Delta. This weekend was a beautiful weekend on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We had a great opportunity. There was a lot of bad weather to the east and some bad weather to the west, but this little pocket of dry air kind of settled in across coastal Mississippi. So we had the opportunity to head south and do some deep rig fishing. My friend Mark Creech and Terry Waldrop, my son Jordan, and Brent Gutierrez, a really good buddy who also owns Killer Bee Baits, joined us as well. We went out to target amberjack and dolphin, or better known as mahi-mahi. We hit a couple of rigs on the way. There was a full moon during the night, so we actually wondered how the reefs were going to be. And it was kind of slow on the reefs, but we weren't going to spend much time there anyway. We're headed towards some rigs in about 300 feet of water. It was a really good day. We were able to catch our targeted fish, amberjack. My son Jordan, in fact, caught one 85 pounds right up next to the leg of one of the rigs. I had to pull away. It was I mentioned to a friend that it was one of the most violent fights I've seen in a long time. For people who've caught amberjack before, they're probably one of the most significant fighting fishes in the ocean. And to catch an 85-pound one next to the rig, that's quite a feat. That is for sure. For the Super Talk TV, YouTube, and Facebook audience, we showed you a picture of the amberjack. And one of the things that the water was so slick out there this weekend, it was just absolutely beautiful, slick. I don't think I've ever seen the water so calm as we kind of, not only on the way there, on the way back. We saw a bunch of flying fish. We didn't see any rip lines. We didn't see structure to fish under until our way back. We came up on a tree out in the middle of nowhere. There's really the only structure we saw the whole time we were there. And it was loaded with blackfish and cobia and mahi-mahi. We caught 12, and it was pandemonium there for a little bit. It was that's what fishing off coast of Mississippi is all about. You never know when you're going to come up on, in this case, a fallen tree, and just have a great time. We ran over 200 miles on Saturday. And we got a great reminder why Mississippi is the capital of the outdoors in America. Incidentally, Brent, my buddy who owns Killer Bee Bait, brought some of his frozen baits with us. Some cigar minnows, some squid, some pogies, all super high quality. But the cigar minnows were really good, and they reminded me of the cigar minnows we used to get from Destin, for people who remember that. Really, really good quality. Anyway, let's switch gears. As I mentioned, we're getting ready to do some planning at our farms we lease up in the Mississippi Delta. I can't believe it's that time of year already. We've already ordered the seed and fertilizer from our friend Spike Crawford, who we worked with for many years. And it'll be a couple of weeks, and we'll be up there doing what we do that time of year. You know what? I love hunting, but I love the process of hunting, planning food plots and spending time in the outdoors with friends and family. That's what it's all about. When I think about the outdoors, when I think about this time of year especially, I think about going to the camp with my kids and my grandkids. I also think about my friend Waldo Cleland and his incredible commitment to young people across the state over many years. So I decided to invite Waldo back to Super Talk Outdoors and see what the latest is in his world. So without any further ado, let me welcome my friend Waldo Cleland back to Super Talk Outdoors. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great today.
Well, look, we've had a great visit before. You're an incredibly accomplished bow hunter. You actually own your own bow shop. You've been involved with the department for a bunch of years now. But let's remind people about the AIM program and what you're all about.
Well, AIMS stands for Archery in Mississippi Schools. A neat little acronym there. The program started in 2005, and it was dynamite to begin with. And we started out with 9 pilot schools, worked our way up within the first 3 years to 100 schools. Within the first 5 years, we were at 250, and at present, we are well over 400 now. We're actually bumping the 500 number.
That's, Walt, that's so awesome. I mean, isn't it great to have dedicated your life to introducing and first and foremost, obviously, the bow to kids, but the opportunity for them to be able to be introduced to the outdoors. That's a great life's mission, isn't it?
It really is. And, I was talking with Dr. Polis one time, the gentleman that hired me for this job, and he said, You haven't worked a day in your life, have you? And I said, no, sir, I haven't. I get up in the mornings and I'm ready to go. And it's not I've got to go to work. It's I get to go to work. And that makes a huge difference.
It does make a difference, man. I feel the same way about my work. When I was a publisher and president of newspapers and in digital media company. When I finally found that I wasn't having fun anymore, I decided to retire, and that's what I did. But for most of my career, man, it was the same thing. I just loved what I did. I knew that what we were doing in our work not only was building a solid business, but was making a contribution to the community. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference when you love what you do, man. I mean, and I talked about this last week. Of course, last Monday was Labor Day. We're lucky in this state. We have so many dedicated people who are out there working on behalf of Mississippi every single day, and they love what they do. I know there's some people who don't, but the majority of Mississippians love what they do, and it kind of makes for a greater state as a result of that, doesn't it?
It really does. And Mississippi is on the cutting edge. I mean, we have the top hunting state, top fishing state. I've been all over the country, and I will never leave here. This is my favorite.
Well, Waldo, it's interesting because I've had the opportunity. I've had guides. I've had international hunters. I've had, folks from the Primo's team and just so many different people. That Mossy Oaks, for example, these guys have been all over the world. And when I talk about Mississippi as the capital of the outdoors in America, that's a claim that we're worthy of, isn't it?
That's well put. And again, you're not stretching anything at all. We may be even under stretching it, if you know what I mean, because Mississippi, it has so much to offer, and just the caliber of people that we involve in this. And it seems like our age structure is getting younger and younger in the bow hunting, fishing, so on and so forth. And I believe that's because of AIMS, Mississippi Shooting Sports Program, and several other deals that we have kind of donated for the kids.
Hey, listen, we're going to get the latest on AIMS Extreme, et cetera. I'm curious, though. You were in competitive bow shooting for a long, long time. Do you miss it?
I do. The two happiest times of my life probably were while I was doing it and when I got to quit. But I really do enjoy it. But again, it's time now to kind of pass the torch on, work with these young shooters, do everything I can to keep our shooters from our area down here on the top of the archery scheme.
You were five-time national title. You had 5 national titles. And you talk about discipline in archery, but really to be great at it, you've really got to dedicate some practice time, don't you?
Yes, sir. Dedication to the sport is, 7 days a week. I shot a bow for so many years. And kind of funny, though, I still keep a bow hanging by the door at my house. And when I walk out every morning, before daylight, after daylight, whenever I leave, I shoot 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 arrows with my recurve bow. And then when I get home in the afternoons, I go pull the arrows out from under the shed and I shoot some more. And it's just something about it. I mean, it's the greatest sport ever.
That's about every day, right? You said?
Yeah, every day. Rain or shine, I can shoot out from under my carport and shoot into the target house. And it's just a habit that I got used to and wouldn't give it up for the world.
So, what's interesting about the upcoming velvet season is that you've got a situation now where people have a chance for deer earlier than normal. And it really, I think, it's caused some people to dust off their bows. What are you hearing?
Oh, no doubt. Many guys and ladies are going to dive in on this one. The deer are more patternable at this time. So it's just going to make it for not an easy hunt, but an easier hunt probably.
We're having a visit with my friend Waldo Cleland. He's head of the Ames program. He's the Ames director for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. When we come back, we'll get the latest on what's happening in the Ames program and talk about his long-time dedication to youth. We'll see you after this break.
I said one Mississippi, there's a magnolia tree,
leading the conversation on Mississippi's outdoors. It's Super Talk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. I really enjoy visiting with my friend Waldo Cleland, who's head of the Ames program for the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. Been really dedicated to the shooting sports, especially bows. He's a national champion. Owned his own bow shop along the way, but he's been very dedicated to the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks for a long time. Waldo, it's always interesting to hear the conversations that take place when we're on break. Just like just now, we were talking about how the claim to be the capital of the outdoors, Mississippi being the capital of the outdoors in America, is definitely not far-fetched. I mean, we certainly deserve it. And here's the thing. I remember getting, as an adult, I might add, getting my first turkey up in Walnut, Mississippi, hunting with my friend Al Hopkins at his farm up there, which is right on the Tennessee border, as you know. Beautiful country, man. Some of the most beautiful country you have ever laid eyes on. And then you think about what's going on in the center of the state, northeast Mississippi, the Delta, down here in South Mississippi, the Pascagoula River Complex. Think about it, the backwaters, the thousands of miles of backwaters in Mississippi. And then if you could have been with me offshore this weekend when we came up on that tree I mentioned at the beginning of the show, where it was loaded with blackfish and mahi-mahi and cobia, or lemonfish, we call it down here on the coast. Beautiful mahi-mahi, by the way, really good eating, I might add. But when you add it all together, I mean, you've seen it. You've been all over this state. You may find one aspect of the outdoors is better in places like Montana or Wyoming, but when you add it all together, the sum total of what we have here in Mississippi is incredible, isn't it?
It is. 1.75 million head of deer running around in our forest. That's just incredible. And many years back, it was rare to see a deer track. And again, our wildlife guys, we can thank them for that and give them a big pat on the back. And a while ago, you also mentioned you enjoyed very much the pre-hunt stuff, like planning food plots and stuff. That's where we change from hunters into conservationists. And I see the scale, or the age group, I should say, or the age class of the conservationist coming down. Our younger ones are really coming in. Our young ladies and gentlemen, they're coming in and they're doing the job, taking the bull by the horns and doing how it's supposed to be done.
Isn't that fun? I love this whole sense of family when you're doing that kind of stuff. And we bring our grandkids with us, and this is a pretty time of year because as you know, the farmers are harvesting all across this state. I think about my farming friends, Clinton Dunn and Travis Dunn, who I lease some farms from up in the Delta. And, I look forward to planning because we get to spend time with the Dunn family, and what a terrific family that is. But I mean, I'm just speaking for everyone who's involved in hunting, the opportunity for the brotherhood to get together, for us to get out in the woods together, and to be able to really do all the activities that are involved. And boy, there are a lot of activities, a lot of hard work, but it's fun. It's a great way to stay in shape, isn't it, Waldo?
It really is, and I'm not a great example of that. And seat too much, but just as we were talking about last year, my wife wanted to go bow hunting opening day, and first time in many moons that I went without a bow. And I was sitting in the stand with her, and she harvested a 9-point buck in the Marion County area. And you talk about my son was there also. He was in for college break. He played college baseball and was in for the fall break. And that could not have been a more wonderful place to be at the time.
Isn't that awesome, man? My son Jordan went on a little mission last year to shoot a deer with my grandfather's 16 gauge shotgun, single shot shotgun. And in order to get it, he had to actually position himself, like on the edge of a field, with a lot of cover around him, hunting from the ground. And he got his deer, and he called me. I unfortunately had to work, so I wasn't able to be up there with him. But he was, literally almost in tears. He was so happy that he had reached his goal of shooting this beautiful deer, by the way, beautiful 8-point. With that 16 gauge shotgun. Now he's figuring out what he's going to do next. But that's what it's all about, man. It's just about, if you get to take a deer, that's great. But I enjoy all the other stuff that's around it, mostly just spending time with friends and family. So Waldo, tell me the latest on Ames. How are you guys doing? What's going on these days?
Ames, of course, it's the real deal with numbers. Again, we started out with 9 schools in 2005, up to nearly 500 now. It actually bumps over 500 occasionally, I'm sure, active schools. And the numbers are, again, just incredible. And we see no time in the future for this thing to take a downswing. It's climbing up. We had over 8,000 shooters registered last year for our state championship. That makes it the biggest youth sport in Mississippi. And people don't realize this. It's not really advertised, but it's the Ames. And again, the future, it looks brighter than ever. I believe the Ames program will be here when you and I are long gone.
When you study the students that are involved, you probably have a wide variety. I bet it's diverse. I bet you have opportunity to see kids that grew up in the outdoors and some that have never been introduced to the outdoors. Kind of give me a sense of what you're learning about the students who are involved in this program.
Well, it's, like you said, it's very diversified, and it's also a level playing field, and you'll have the quarterback of the football team, the shortstop of the baseball team, and then you'll have another guy or lady there shooting all three side by side. And again, it's a level playing field. Those great athletes may not be so great on the archery floor, and some that don't excel. Everybody can't hit a home run or dunk a basketball or run a touchdown or throw a pass, but everybody can virtually be a success in archery.
Isn't that cool? I mean, I remember you mentioning that to me the last time we talked, but it is a level playing field. And what makes a good shooter? What have you learned makes a great shooter?
Concentration, I believe, is the biggest thing. A mentally strong student archer or student athlete will be a good archer every time. And it seems like the more they're coached, the more coachable they are. And that sentence doesn't sound exactly right, but it hits the nail right on the head.
Well, I remember I was in band when I was growing up. I was a drummer and also banged on the piano. But I remember the discipline of drumming, the practice, and getting there on time, and all of that's involved in becoming a good musician. The same thing with bow, and I think about this that in my adult life, I'll go back to some of those lessons I learned back then in elementary school and junior high and high school, and it made me better at what I did in my life in terms of my career. But there are a lot of life lessons these kids are learning shooting the bow, aren't there?
No doubt. And again, our old saying, changing lives one arrow at a time, it surely falls into place. This morning, I talked with 3 of our collegiate coaches from Mississippi. Talked with Johnny Stinson from William Carey, John McDonald from Mississippi College, and Trey Humphreys from Blue Mountain. And I said, hey, by the way, guys, how many scholarships do we give out now? How many guys of y'all and ladies have you got shooting on scholarship at your colleges? And the number was near 100 from that and a few more colleges that we have. So 100 a year. That is incredible. I mean, that getting your education, shooting a bow.
Isn't that cool? I mean, you don't think about those kind of opportunities evolving, but what that means is that colleges are beginning to recognize this as a viable opportunity as well.
No doubt, no doubt. And like I say, I believe it's going to become more of a spectator sport with our new type scoring and our scoring facilities that we have. And it's just going to bloom.
Waldo, one of the things that's been cool about doing Super Talk Outdoors now, I guess next month, it'll be a year that we've been doing the show now in this new format. has been the opportunity to talk to people from the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. So many dedicated leaders in that organization. Man, we're lucky to have the dedicated professionals that do what they do, aren't we?
No, there's no doubt about that. And when you said professionals, it is the out of everything that I've ever done, the most true professionals that I have ever worked with came from MDWFP. And don't throw our foundation out on that either, because the foundation's exactly the same way. We have some crackerjack board members for our foundation that enhance our Department of Wildlife personnel.
There's no doubt, and we talk about it here on this show all the time. In fact, I'm in the foundation studio as we speak. And we say the foundation is just a short way of saying it. If we say the Foundation for Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, then it confuses with the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. So we're trying to give a little bit of a distinction there. But you're right. The leaders that are involved in that, they are so dedicated to, in so many different ways, filling holes for the department, making sure that more kids are involved in the outdoors and outdoor activities. And, again, we're privileged to be in this state. Listen, Waldo Cleland, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend.
And you too. Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
You bet. Hey, when we come back, we're going to visit with Andy Jones. He's a catfish farmer in Mississippi, and he's got some great stories. We're going to talk about the outdoors and also talk about the relationship between catfish farming and the outdoors. We'll see you after this break.
Drive safely.
Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. I enjoyed that conversation with Waldo Cleland. We're so lucky to have dedicated people like him in this community all across Mississippi, helping to introduce kids to the outdoors. And it's so interesting that bow hunting and bow archery is one of the key ways to do that. And I just think it's terrific. We're really, really lucky to have Waldo doing what he's doing, and the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks doing what they're doing. Now let's shift gears. We're going to move over to my friend Andy Jones, who is the Catfish Farmer of the Year for 2022. We're going to learn a little bit about his business, but I want to also talk about catfish farmers and the outdoors. And naturally, they love the outdoors, so we're going to get a little bit of a conversation with him about that. So, Andy, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Good to be here.
Good to see you. So where are you sitting right now?
I'm actually in my daddy's office. I don't have a webcam, so I'm in here just hanging out for a little bit.
Good. Hey, tell me about your catfish operation.
I am I got 100 and so ponds. We're about half food fish. That's the food that we deliver, to the processing plants that you're going to eat. And then the other half of my operation is fingerlings, and that is the easy way to describe it is I'm the cow-calf operation of the fish business. I grow the little fish, I sell them to the guys that want to grow them out, and sell them to the processing plants, and that's probably the most important part of our farm right now.
100 ponds, is that a pretty large operation when you compare yourselves to others?
There's a lot of farms that are bigger than mine, but I think we're pretty good size. It's almost as much as I want to handle every day. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of people. Takes a lot of time to get around because fish. It's a live animal. You got to check every one of them every day, 365 just about. So
and there's always some critters trying to eat them, aren't there?
Oh, look, it's birds, snakes, armadillos. Well, not armadillos. It's just fun to play with armadillos, but coons, possums, everything you can imagine comes on a fish pond.
Cormorants?
Oh, they're nightmare, pelicans, egrets. We get into the temperatures that we are right now. It's real nice, and everybody enjoys this little cool snap we got today. But it's a nightmare for the fishing guys. We have birds that they start getting ready to migrate, and so they just want to feast on our ponds all the time. So I have a guy running birds. All he's doing is riding around all day getting birds up off ponds all day. Every day.
Wow, that it just goes with the territory for sure. So how long has this farm been in operation?
My daddy started it in 1982. I was born in 84, and I pretty much have grown up out here. I actually live in the house I was raised in. My daddy moved. He moved off the farm, and we worked out a deal where I got to move in the house, which I've enjoyed that because I was living probably 10 or 15 minutes away, and you wouldn't think that's that far. But in the fish business, I wouldn't ever come home. And so now I get to spend time with my kids. I can go pick them up, or I can go hang out, throw a baseball with them for a little bit, and then go back and check on some things before we quit for the day. So it's been really enjoyable. And my boys, they're out there on dirt pile every day watching, tractors and everything ride by. So it's a lot of fun.
So you grew up there, and now you got your two kids, and they're growing up there. I mean, it's just part of your life, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's just, it all works together. We make it all happen.
How's business for you?
It's okay. Input costs have gone through the roof. There's always everybody wants to talk about the labor and everything. Labor's always an issue somewhat, but I have a really good crew. A lot of guys have been with me since I've gotten out of college. And so I can't complain too much. You always want another guy to kind of help fill in the deal, spot or something, but it's okay right now. They kind of, they work together, they mesh, they know what to do. They all go get it done, and it's actually freed me up some. I love doing, I coach my boys in baseball. And so like they've kind of stepped up and helped me out on that. They might like it better that I leave a little bit, because if I stay out there, I'll sit there and pick them apart and stuff, but they're really good. I got a good crew.
So, have you seen you said the raw material costs that are coming into your operation have been sky high. Have you seen any fluctuation downward on any of that?
No, sir. My feed's up. It's up $100 and something a ton from last year. Diesel fuel's up high. Electricity's going up a little bit. I mean, it doesn't look. It looks like it's kind of the new norm for right now. You hope some of that changes sometime, but because what's going to happen is the cost of fish in the stores and stuff is going to end up going up. But maybe we'll just all adjust to it in a couple of years, and it'll be okay. We'll all struggle a little bit now, and then hopefully everybody will kind of get used to it, and we'll keep on rocking on.
During the pandemic, did people eat more catfish?
Yeah, yes, sir. It was really. I got really nervous right when it hit, and I had a processing guy call me and said, "We're not going to buy your fish," and you start panicking a little bit right there. 2 weeks later, he called me back. I made arrangements with another plant, and they bought everything you could get. Because I have my own crew, and so it just worked really good, and it's been really good. I think we're going to start to see some of that now, though, with the labor shortages in those plants and all that stuff. It was hard to keep them working, but it's still we're everybody's doing okay right now in it. So,
yeah, good. Hey, listen, what's interesting when you talked about how when you're in the catfish farming business, you've got to be out there, you got to be paying attention to the catfish. It kind of reminds me of cattle farming, how you can't go on vacation when you're cattle farming. It's very similar, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I always tell people all the time, I say, fish don't feel rain. Row crop guy, no offense to the row crop guys, but when it's raining and pouring down, we're still out here checking ponds. About the only way we can't do anything is if we get a deep freeze and the ponds freeze over so thick that you can't get out there and move them. But other than that, they don't know it's 4th of July. They don't know it's Easter Sunday. They don't know it's Christmas Day. But, the good thing about some of that is it's cold. Fish are cold weather, cold blooded. And so they slow down. So, at least the winter starts to slow down some, and you don't have as many things going on. So,
yeah. So look, is it natural for people in your business, and you in particular, to just have a natural love for the outdoors since you were born? Is it in your DNA?
I was talking to somebody, it's been several months ago, and it was a guy that buys fish from me in Alabama. He said, all you Delta boys, all y'all do is work on fish ponds in the summer and go hunting all winter long. Man, I absolutely love deer hunting. It is my favorite thing to do. My second, shooting doves and duck hunting is a lot of fun. Duck hunting, I don't like going unless there's ducks, but deer hunting, it's nice and peaceful, and you kind of get to relax and decompress some. I say we work all summer to go deer hunting all winter, but we still have to work some in the winter time too. But it's a lot of fun.
Deer hunting is my love as well. So do you do it on your farm there, or where do you do most of your hunting?
Well, we got a camp on the river. My dad got in a long time ago, and then I got a place on the farm that hunts. My boys love it. They're getting into it. I'm kind of worried about my little one. He's going to be a killer. but he likes it a lot. But it's really fun. I get eat up with it bad. My wife's probably mad at me.
So when you take your sons, I mean, did they tell me about an experience with hunting with your sons?
You gotta, it's man. All right. So I let my oldest start shooting last year. And so it was, we get out there, you know, first deer, you know, and they're all nervous. One of the first times I ever took them hunting, you know, the deer comes out and they start hollering. I'm like, oh, guys, you got to be quiet. You know, we got to run the deer off. So it took a couple times to get that right. But now, you know, I kind of learned my lesson too. So when the deer comes out, I prepare them for it a little bit and say, hey, there's deer, you know, we got to be quiet and all that. And anyway, when I got to let him shoot the first time, he shot and he hit the deer. We did not find the deer, but you know, the first thing I told him, I said, hey, bud, you shot this deer, you hit it. I know you hit it. We might not find it, but I promise you, you know, we're gonna keep working at this. Man, it was one of the funnest experiences of my life.
How old was he when he shot?
He was he just turned 7. So we're starting earlier. I didn't kill my first deer when I was 12. My dad didn't kill his first until he was over 20. So, you know, everybody's starting, all his buddies, you know, he's begging me to take me. I wasn't ready to do it, you know, gun safety and all that stuff. Just didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to have to worry about that yet, but man, I just couldn't do it. So I had to get him something and go do it. So, and my little one, I told him when he gets out of school for Christmas this year, I'm going to let him shoot, but I think I'm going to get overrode on that. I'm going to have to take him out this youth weekend this year. So it's going to be all right.
Man, taking kids in the outdoors, man. And it's really cool. I remember well with my 2 sons that, you know, when they found the relationship between being quiet and actually seeing deer, then they're always quiet from that point forward. Hey, when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the Catfish Farmer of the Year, Andy Jones, and we'll continue to share our love for the outdoors. We'll see you when we get back.
I said, one Mississippi, there's a magnolia tree.
We live in one of the best places in America to enjoy the outdoors. So let's talk about it. It's Super Talk Outdoors with Ricky Matthews on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. We're having a conversation with Andy Jones, who is the Catfish Farmer of the Year for 2022. He farms in the Mississippi Delta. Catfish Farms, has 100 ponds, grew up doing it, in fact, and now he lives in the house where his parents used to live, and continues to manage the farm and do what he does. I thought it was cool that you said during the pandemic people like to eat catfish, but yeah, I think everyone's eating habits changed dramatically during the pandemic, and maybe people a little bit more focused on trying to eat healthy. But catfish that's a healthy eating fish, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I absolutely. People, you know, they say, man, there's no way you like catfish. I can eat catfish 2 or 3 times a week. Now, I love fried. It's really good and it's really easy, but it's not my favorite. My favorite is a recipe my mama came up with where you take ranch salad dressing, cheese, and potato chips, and you put it on the fish and you cook it, and it is fantastic. But we actually in the office here, we just moved in this building a couple years ago, and every Friday we try a different catfish recipe. You can go on like catfish.com and pull up those recipes, and I've yet to find one I didn't like. It's some that are better than others, but man, it's so many different ways to cook it. It's so easy to make, you know, and you can about put anything on it to make. It's kind of like a salad. You know, you can't ever have a bad salad. You know, you can put fish, you can put whatever topping you want on it, or anything, cook it any kind of way, fry it, grill it, bake it. It's all good.
So you said your dad got in the club and you had the opportunity to go hunt on the river, and I've hunted over there for many, many years. The last couple of years over on Kings Point, some incredible hunting. I often talk on this show about Mississippi is the capital of the outdoors in America. That's a worthy claim we can make, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It is. There's not many people in this area that don't get out and do something outdoors, either it be kind of sport or going fishing, you know, going to the lake, going skiing or hunting. You know, it's kind of hard to find somebody that doesn't like something outdoors.
Hey, do your ponds naturally attract ducks?
Yes, sir. You have people come all over, from Georgia and stuff, and they want to, it won't be good ducks. Well, what we call good ducks, you'll have shovelers, coots, and you'll have a few mallards every now and then. I tell you what, we've gotten a lot of, and I'm not going to get the name right, but there's those whistling ducks from Mexico.
Yeah, I've seen. We have those too. Yeah, yeah.
They showed up probably 10 years ago, man, and they lay babies. Well, they lay eggs and they have their babies. It's probably 150 to 200 of those ducks swimming around the farm right now. And, and being a kind of an outdoors guy, man, we do everything we can to keep those ducks alive, so when they fly back, and it's really pretty on the farm and everything out there, it's just neat seeing that, those are the good birds,
we actually have some of those on our place between Greenwood and Blackhawk. It's a beautiful duck, actually. And when they have their babies, man, those babies hang out with their moms for a good long time, and there's a bunch of them too. I've got tons of pictures of that.
It does. It is. I think I have one group that had 20 in it, and I was like, and they're all around. We try. We have to cut the grass around the ponds. And I don't know where they're laying their eggs, but they got to be on the ground somewhere. And I tell my guys, I said, man, look, just watch. I don't want to, mess them up and all that. We rework our fish ponds every year. We have to do probably 10 or so ponds every year. And, and that'll be bare dirt. And I plant wheat on those, and that attracts the snow geese in there, which we don't hunt the geese, but, it's kind of cool watching them all come and land on your place and stuff.
It really is. Hey, when I think about catfish farmers, what I think about is how organized you guys are. Your organization, your associations, both inside the state and nationally. Your work in Washington to speak with one voice. It's whether it's best practices, whether it's environmental protection, whether it's marketing and how to best how to make your catfish operations better. You're lucky to be part of that association, aren't you?
Yes, sir. I kind of followed in my daddy's footsteps in that. He got involved with that, and my dad's been real crucial in a lot of things, and helping keep the fish business around, and somebody's got to do that. He's getting older. He doesn't want to do this anymore. He wants to just, go watch a football game or go deer hunting too, and he's put in his time. And so, you got another generation that's got to do it. And then there'll have to be a generation after me, and you constantly got to train people to kind of do that. We just have to take on that role. And that's just part of keeping the industry going, is staying involved with everything you have to, either it be research or politics.
Yeah, I saw in your bio when he had, as a young guy, he had you involved in some efforts. You even went to Washington along the way, but it is a really well organized organization, and you must be doing a good leader to be recognized as the Catfish Farmer of the Year. Congratulations on that, and thank you for spending some time with me here on Super Talk Outdoors. I really appreciate you, my friend.
Oh, I've enjoyed this. This has been fun.
This has been Andy Jones, catfish farmer from the Mississippi Delta, and as I mentioned, the Catfish Farmer of the Year for 2022. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday, and as I always say, please be safe in the outdoors. Always put safety first. We'll see you next Monday. God bless you.
Mississippi till I'm dead.